really the biggest thing is to get back on the winner's circle and, get back out on top. It's been a while, and it's obviously very tough to win out here. But I feel like the game has been trending in the right direction. I saw a little bit through the playoffs. President's Cup felt really nice, and hopefully we can kind of start putting together 4 good rounds and giving ourselves a chance, come Sunday on the back nine and see what, how things play out.
What would it do for your confidence to win, your season debut and at the Zozo Championship at an international event?
It'd be huge. I think there's a lot to talk about when you talk about the Zozo Championship. You look at the 2 times it's been played in Japan. You obviously have Tiger that won in 19 and Hideki that won last year. It's provided great winners, and it shows that this course, is kind of makes great players hopefully rise to the top, and hopefully, we're on this week and figuring some things out.
Love his honesty, very direct and honest with the media. 2-time major champ who did not have the year, I think we can say, that he wanted to. Interesting to me, Eamon, that he put a new putter in his bag a couple of weeks before the President's Cup, a half-inch shorter. He thought that on the greens he was starting to get a little bit rigid, trying to be a little more natural and athletic. And he said of late, over the last few weeks, that fade that was missing during the summer has been found. So I think he's going to be on to bigger and better things. How about you?
Isn't it a sign of how high Collin Morikawa set the bar for himself, that a guy who's had a reasonably solid year without a trophy is considered to be in a slump? But that is the bar Collin Morikawa set for himself. Last year he won 3 times, was second another 3 times. He won a couple of times the year before that. He had those couple of major championship victories. And do you remember when a couple of years ago there was such a frenzy around the fact that he'd never missed a cut, and there were a couple of times he looked in danger of it, but he held it out there. He's missed 4 cuts this year, which is strikingly inconsistent for a guy like him at his level. And I think the results have certainly cooled, but he gets a bad rap a little bit on the putting. It's very easy to misread the strokes gained stats when it comes to putting. For instance, from inside of 3 feet, Collin Morikawa is listed as tied for 132nd on tour. He's had 541 putts last season inside of 3 feet. He made 538 of the 541. So that's how good they are out there, that gets you tied for 132nd. A better, perhaps, point to look at with him is putting inside of 10 feet, where these guys are going to have a lot of birdie options, particularly if you hit your irons like Collin Morikawa. And he was 168th on tour last year. So the putting is not, it's just not a strong suit for him at all. And he gives the sense of a guy who's searching for something. But to your point, what surprised me this year is him talking about searching for something on the way to the green.
Right.
Because he's been such a quality ball striker for the first few years of his career.
He was asked early in his press conference at Brookline about the state of his game, and he went right there. My iron game, I'm not playing the way I want to. I'm not seeing the start lines and the finish lines. And I just thought it was remarkably candid for a player who could have said, I'm playing okay. Like, he got specific. To me, that was almost a point of pride. Like I'm such a good player that I know eventually I'm going to be okay. Right now, I'm in a little bit of a bad patch. But he didn't hide. He doesn't hide from questions. And I thought it was very much an indication of the confidence that he has in his game and the goals that he has. I remember speaking to him at Torrey Pines before he won that second major, and it was all about finding a way to that second major quickly after winning the first at the PGA at TPC Harding Park. And he was very honest that it's going to happen shortly, and it did happen in the next major. So I think he's a very confident player who's not shy and talking to people like us in saying specifically what is bothering him and specifically what he's working on and working his way through right now.
That's a fair assessment. He's a very analytical character, and he doesn't kind of dodge bullets or dodge topics. And you don't hear that very often among players who are in the searching mode.
Right.
Ricky Fowler is another example of somebody who was fairly upfront in talking about exactly what he was working on, and we'll hear from Ricky later in the show. He talked today in Japan about specifics that he was working on with Butch as well. But it's remarkable how many players don't want to get into the granular detail of what they're working on a swing. And it's not as though he's that far off, but when you're Collin Morikawa, not that far off can feel like a long way off. When he finished 5th at the Masters back in April, he was number 2 in the official World Golf Rankings. As of now, he's number 9. And that's something he's going to try to be reversing, this week.
Yeah. We talk about what a U.S. Open at LACC would mean for Patrick Cantlay or for Xander Schauffele. Collin Morikawa is from the Los Angeles area as well. He's already won a major championship. on the West Coast, not far from where he went to college at Berkeley. Winning in San Francisco would surprise absolutely nobody if he played some great golf coming up in June.